Biker destroys veteran's watch, then reaches for his phone. The sun was setting, casting an orange glow over the bustling town square. Crowds of people filled the streets, laughing, chatting, and enjoying the warm summer evening. Amidst the festive atmosphere, a group of leather-clad bikers weaved their way through the throng, their laughter raucous and their demeanor intimidating. Leading the pack was Zane Blaze Carter, a tall, muscular man with a shaved head and a fierce scowl. He revved his motorcycle's engine, relishing the startled looks from the people nearby. His gang, a dozen strong, followed close behind, their bikes roaring in unison. As they made their way through the crowd, Zane's eyes fell upon an old man standing alone near a fountain. The man wore a faded military jacket and a worn baseball cap, his weathered face etched with lines of age and experience. But what caught Zane's attention was the watch on the man's wrist, a simple, military-issued timepiece that seemed out of place amidst the festivities. With a sneer, Zane brought his bike to a stop in front of the old man. "Hey, Gramps," he called out, his voice dripping with disdain. "What's with the fancy watch? You trying to impress someone?" The old man looked up, his eyes calm and steady. "No," he replied softly. "Just remembering some old friends." Zane scoffed. "Friends? More like a bunch of losers who couldn't hack it in the real world." The old man's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. He simply looked down at his watch, a hint of sadness in his eyes. Zane's gang gathered around, their laughter growing louder as they sensed the old man's discomfort. "Hey Blaze," one of them called out. "Why don't you show Gramps here what we think of his little watch?" Zane grinned, a cruel glint in his eye. He dismounted his bike and strode towards the old man, his boots thudding against the pavement. The old man, William "Bill" Reynolds, stood his ground as the biker approached. He had faced far worse than a gang of unruly bikers in his time. As a retired war veteran and highly decorated former intelligence officer, Bill had seen the horrors of war firsthand. The watch on his wrist, a keepsake from his fallen comrades, served as a constant reminder of the sacrifices made and the bonds forged in the heat of battle. Zane towered over Bill, a sneer on his face. "You think that little watch makes you special, old man?" He reached out and grabbed Bill's wrist, twisting it painfully. "It's just a piece of junk." Bill's eyes narrowed, but he remained calm. "This watch means more to me than you could ever understand," he said evenly. "It represents the bravery and sacrifice of the men and women who fought beside me." Zane laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Bravery? Sacrifice? Give me a break. You're just a washed-up old fool clinging to the past." With a sudden, violent motion, Zane wrenched the watch from Bill's wrist. He held it up, examining it with a mocking expression. "This thing isn't even worth the metal it's made from." Bill's heart clenched as he watched Zane dangle the watch carelessly. It was more than just a timepiece, it was a symbol of the unbreakable bonds he shared with his fellow soldiers, a reminder of the lives lost and the sacrifices made. Zane's gang gathered closer, their laughter growing louder and more vicious. They sensed Bill's distress and reveled in it, eager to see their leader put the old man in his place. With a cruel grin, Zane tossed the watch to the ground. "Let's see how tough your little keepsake really is," he sneered. He raised his boot, poised to slam it down on the watch. Bill's eyes widened in horror, but he remained still, his body tense with barely contained rage. He knew that reacting with violence would only lead to more pain and suffering. Time seemed to slow as Zane's boot descended towards the watch. Bill's heart raced, his mind flooded with memories of his fallen comrades, their faces flashing before his eyes. In that moment, he saw not just the watch, but the very essence of their sacrifice, the weight of their legacy. Just as Zane's boot was about to make contact, a voice rang out across the square. "Stop right there." Zane paused, his foot hovering inches above the watch. He turned, his eyes narrowing as he searched for the source of the interruption. A figure emerged from the crowd, a tall, broad-shouldered man in a crisp military uniform. He strode towards Zane, his steps measured and purposeful. "Step away from the watch," he commanded, his voice firm and authoritative. Zane scowled, his fists clenching at his sides. "And who the hell are you?" he spat. The man stopped a few feet away, his gaze locked on Zane. "Captain James Anderson, United States Army," he replied crisply. "And I suggest you listen carefully." Zane's gang shifted uneasily, their laughter fading as they sensed the tension in the air. They looked to their leader, waiting for his response. Zane's eyes darted from Captain Anderson to Bill, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. He knew he was outnumbered and outmatched, but his pride wouldn't let him back down so easily. Bill watched the exchange, his heart swelling with gratitude. He recognized Captain Anderson, they had served together years ago, their paths crossing briefly but memorably. Anderson had always been a man of integrity and honor, a true leader in every sense of the word. Zane's hand twitched towards his pocket, and Bill tensed, ready to intervene. But before he could move, Captain Anderson spoke again. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," he warned, his voice low and dangerous. "You have no idea who you're dealing with." Zane hesitated, his eyes darting around the square. He saw the faces of the crowd, the anger and disgust in their expressions. For the first time, he realized the gravity of his actions. The standoff between Zane and Captain Anderson stretched on, the tension palpable in the air. The crowd watched with bated breath, their eyes flickering between the two men. Bill stood quietly, his gaze fixed on the watch that lay on the ground, a symbol of the sacrifices he and his comrades had made. Zane's mind raced, trying to calculate his next move. He knew he was in a losing position, but his stubborn pride refused to let him back down. He glanced at his gang, hoping for support, but found only uncertainty and fear in their eyes. Captain Anderson took a step forward, his voice calm but firm. "Listen to me carefully, son," he said, his gaze locked on Zane. "That watch represents more than you could ever understand. It's a symbol of the bravery and sacrifice of the men and women who have served our country. It's a reminder of the lives lost, the bonds forged, and the duty we all share to honor their memory." Zane's jaw clenched, his eyes darting between Captain Anderson and Bill. He could feel the weight of the crowd's stares, the judgment in their eyes. For a moment, he hesitated, torn between his pride and the growing realization of the gravity of his actions. Bill watched the exchange, his heart heavy with the memories of his fallen comrades. He knew all too well the pain of loss, the weight of survival. He had carried that burden for years, never forgetting the sacrifices made by those who didn't make it home. As the silence stretched on, Bill stepped forward, his voice steady and clear. "It's not too late," he said, his eyes meeting Zane's. "You have a choice, son. You can walk away from this, learn from your mistakes, and become a better man. Or you can continue down this path and face the consequences of your actions." Zane's eyes widened, surprised by Bill's words. He had expected anger, hatred, but instead found compassion and understanding. In that moment, something shifted within him, a flicker of doubt, a glimmer of hope. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the town square, Zane stood frozen, his mind reeling from Bill's unexpected words. The weight of his actions pressed down upon him, the realization of the pain he had caused, the disrespect he had shown, hitting him like a freight train. Around him, the crowd watched in tense silence, their eyes fixed on the unfolding drama. Captain Anderson remained steady, his gaze never wavering from Zane, ready to intervene if necessary. Bill stood beside him, his expression a mix of sadness and determination, a man who had seen the worst of humanity but still believed in the power of redemption. Zane's gang shifted uneasily, their earlier bravado replaced by a growing sense of unease. They looked to their leader, waiting for his next move, but Zane seemed lost in his own thoughts, his eyes distant and troubled. In that moment, a flicker of movement caught Bill's eye. A young woman, no more than 20, stepped forward from the crowd. She wore a faded military jacket, a small pin on her lapel, a symbol of a fallen soldier. With tears in her eyes, she approached Zane, her voice trembling but clear. "My brother died serving our country," she said, her gaze locked on Zane. "He was a hero, a true friend, and a light in this world. That watch, the one you so carelessly discarded, is a reminder of his sacrifice, of the love and loyalty he showed to his fellow soldiers. Zane's eyes widened, a flicker of shame crossing his face. He looked down at the watch, still lying on the ground, and felt a sudden rush of guilt and regret. The young woman took a step closer, her voice growing stronger. "I don't know you, but I know the pain you must carry. The anger, the frustration, the sense of being lost in this world. But you have a choice, a chance to be better, to honor the sacrifices of those who came before you." Zane's hands trembled, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. In that moment, he saw himself through the eyes of the crowd, through the eyes of Bill and the young woman. And he knew, with a sudden clarity, that he had to make a change. As the young woman's words hung in the air, Zane felt a wave of emotion crashing over him. The weight of his actions, the pain he had caused, the disrespect he had shown, it all came rushing back, hitting him with a force he had never experienced before. He looked down at the watch, still lying on the ground, and felt a sudden urge to pick it up, to make amends for his mistakes. With a shaking hand, he reached down and gently lifted the timepiece, cradling it in his palm as if it were a fragile treasure. Bill watched, his heart filled with a mix of hope and trepidation. He knew all too well the struggles of a troubled soul, the long and difficult road to redemption. But he also knew the power of a single act of kindness, the ripple effect it could have on a life, a community. Zane turned to Bill, his eyes filled with a new sense of purpose. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "I was wrong, so wrong. I didn't understand, didn't see the meaning behind this watch, the sacrifices it represents." Bill nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "It's never too late to learn, to grow," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "You have a chance now, a chance to make things right, to honor the memory of those who have served." Zane's gang watched in stunned silence, their earlier bravado replaced by a growing sense of shame and uncertainty. They looked to their leader, waiting for his next move, but Zane seemed transformed, his eyes clear and determined. He turned to the young woman, his voice filled with a newfound respect. "Thank you," he said, his words heartfelt and sincere. "Thank you for reminding me of what truly matters, for showing me the power of sacrifice and love." The young woman nodded, tears streaming down her face. She reached out and took Zane's hand, squeezing it gently, a silent acknowledgement of the journey he was about to embark upon. And in that moment, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the town square was bathed in a soft, golden light, a seed of change was planted, a glimmer of hope in a world too often filled with darkness. As the moments stretched on, the crowd around them began to stir, their whispers growing louder, their eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and anticipation. They had witnessed something extraordinary, a transformation that seemed almost impossible, a glimmer of hope in a world too often filled with pain and suffering. Bill stepped forward, his hand outstretched, a silent offer of support and understanding. Zane hesitated for a moment, his eyes flickering between the watch in his hand and the man before him. Then, with a deep breath, he reached out and clasped Bill's hand, a gesture of respect and gratitude. "I have a lot to learn," Zane said, his voice filled with a new sense of humility. "A lot to make up for. But I'm ready to start anew, to be the man I know I can be." Bill nodded, his eyes glistening with emotion. "It won't be easy," he said, his words filled with the wisdom of a life well lived. "But you have the strength within you, the courage to face the challenges ahead. And you have the support of those around you, the love and understanding of a community that believes in second chances." Zane looked around, his gaze falling upon the faces of the crowd, the expressions of hope and encouragement that greeted him. He saw his gang, their eyes filled with a new sense of purpose, a desire to follow in their leader's footsteps. And he saw the young woman, her face streaked with tears, her heart filled with the memory of her fallen brother. In that moment, Zane made a silent vow, a promise to honor the sacrifices of those who had come before him, to live a life worthy of their memory. With a deep breath, he turned to Bill, his voice filled with determination. "I'm ready," he said, his words a solemn oath. "Ready to make things right, to be the change I wish to see in this world." And with that, a new chapter began, a story of redemption and hope, of the power of a single act of kindness to transform a life, a community, a world. As the days turned into weeks, the town square became a hub of activity, a place where the seeds of change began to take root and flourish. Zane and his gang, once a source of fear and intimidation, now worked tirelessly to make amends, to build bridges with the community they had once sought to tear down. Under Bill's guidance, they began to volunteer their time and energy, helping to clean up the streets, to repair damaged storefronts, to lend a helping hand to those in need. They became a fixture in the town, a symbol of the power of second chances, of the transformative effects of kindness and compassion. The young woman, whose brother's sacrifice had touched Zane so deeply, became a constant presence in their lives, a reminder of the importance of honor and duty, of the unbreakable bonds of family and friendship. She shared stories of her brother's bravery, of the love and loyalty he had shown to his fellow soldiers, and in doing so, she helped to heal the wounds of the past, to forge a new path forward. As the community began to thrive, small acts of kindness became a daily occurrence, a testament to the power of individual actions to effect great change. A local garden was planted, a symbol of growth and renewal, and the town's residents came together to tend to it, to nurture the delicate seedlings into strong, healthy plants. A community shop was established, a place where people could come together to share their skills and resources, to support one another in times of need. And a collective project was born, a mural that stretched across the walls of the town square, a vibrant tapestry of color and life, a celebration of the unity and resilience of the human spirit. Through it all, Bill and Zane remained at the heart of the transformation, their bond a shining example of the power of forgiveness, of the ability of the human heart to overcome even the darkest of challenges. And as the town continued to grow and thrive, they knew that they had been a part of something truly special, a movement that would echo through the ages, a testament to the enduring power of hope and love. As the weeks turned into months, the town square became a hub of activity, a place where the seeds of change continued to take root and flourish. The once divided community now worked together, united by a common purpose, a shared desire to build a brighter future for all. Zane and his gang, now fully reformed, became leaders in their own right, their passion and dedication an inspiration to all who knew them. They organized community events, rallied volunteers, and worked tirelessly to promote the values of compassion, respect, and unity. Bill, ever the wise mentor, continued to guide them, his experience and insight a beacon of light in even the darkest of times. He taught them the importance of perseverance, of standing strong in the face of adversity, and of never losing sight of the greater good. As the town's collective project, the mural, neared completion, the residents came together to celebrate, to marvel at the beauty and power of their shared creation. The vibrant colors and intricate designs told a story of hope and resilience, of the unbreakable bonds that tied them together as a community. The young woman, whose brother's sacrifice had set them all on this path, stood before the mural, her eyes filled with tears of joy and remembrance. She spoke of the love and bravery that had inspired them all, of the sacrifices made by those who had come before, and of the duty they all shared to carry on their legacy. As the sun began to set on that day of celebration, Zane and Bill stood side by side, their eyes fixed on the horizon, their hearts filled with a sense of purpose and determination. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy, that there would be challenges and obstacles to overcome. But they also knew that they had the strength and courage to face whatever lay ahead, that they had the support and love of a community that believed in them, that they were part of something greater than themselves. And as the last light of day faded into the soft embrace of night, they knew that they were ready to continue the work they had begun, to build a future worthy of the sacrifices of the past, to be the change they wished to see in the world. As the town continued to thrive, its transformation became a beacon of hope, a shining example of the power of unity and compassion. News of their story spread far and wide, inspiring others to follow in their footsteps, to build communities founded on the principles of respect, kindness, and understanding. Visitors from far and wide came to see the mural, to witness the beauty and resilience of the human spirit in action. They marveled at the vibrant colors, the intricate designs, and the powerful message of hope and perseverance that it conveyed. Zane and his gang, now respected leaders in their own right, welcomed these visitors with open arms, sharing their stories and experiences, offering guidance and support to those who sought to follow in their footsteps. Bill, ever the wise mentor, continued to guide them, his words of wisdom a constant source of inspiration and encouragement. He reminded them of the importance of humility, of the need to always put others before themselves, and of the power of a single act of kindness to change the world. As the months passed, the town's garden continued to grow and flourish, a symbol of the nurturing spirit that had taken root in the hearts of its residents. Children played among the blossoming flowers, their laughter a joyous reminder of the bright future that lay ahead. The community shop became a hub of activity, a place where people could come together to share their skills and resources, to support one another in times of need. It was a testament to the power of cooperation, of the ability of individuals to work together for the greater good. And through it all, the young woman whose brother's sacrifice had set them on this path remained a constant presence, a reminder of the unbreakable bonds of love and family that tied them all together. As Zane and Bill looked out over the town square, their hearts filled with pride and gratitude, they knew that they had been a part of something truly special, a movement that would continue to grow and thrive long after they were gone. And they knew that, no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united by the power of hope and the unbreakable bonds of community. As the years passed, the town became a model of what a community could be, a shining example of the power of unity and compassion to overcome even the darkest of challenges. The mural, now a beloved landmark, stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder of the sacrifices made and the bonds forged in the face of adversity. Zane and his gang, now pillars of the community, continued to lead by example, their lives a testament to the transformative power of second chances. They mentored young people, taught them the value of respect and responsibility, and helped them to find their own paths in life. Bill, though growing older, remained a constant presence, his wisdom and guidance a beacon of light for all who knew him. He watched with pride as the town continued to thrive, as new generations took up the mantle of leadership and carried on the work that he and Zane had begun. The young woman, whose brother's sacrifice had set them all on this path, became a leader in her own right, her passion and dedication an inspiration to all who knew her. She worked tirelessly to support veterans and their families, to honor the memory of those who had given their lives in service to their country. As the town prepared to celebrate the anniversary of its transformation, Zane and Bill stood before the mural, their eyes filled with tears of joy and remembrance. They spoke of the challenges they had faced, of the obstacles they had overcome, and of the unbreakable bonds that had sustained them through it all. And as the community gathered around them, united in their love and gratitude, they knew that they had been a part of something truly special, a movement that had changed not only their own lives, but the lives of countless others. With hearts full of hope and determination, they looked to the future, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that they had the strength and courage to overcome anything, as long as they stood together, united by the power of love and the unbreakable bonds of community. As the anniversary celebration drew near, the town buzzed with excitement and anticipation. Decorations lined the streets, banners fluttered in the breeze, and the air was filled with the sound of laughter and song. Zane and his gang, now respected leaders and role models, worked tirelessly to prepare for the festivities. They organized events, coordinated volunteers, and ensured that every detail was perfect, determined to make the celebration a true reflection of the community's spirit and resilience. Bill, his eyes twinkling with pride and joy, watched as the town came together, united in their love and gratitude. He knew that the journey had not been easy, that there had been moments of doubt and despair, but he also knew that they had persevered, that they had emerged stronger and more united than ever before. As the day of the celebration arrived, the town square was transformed into a scene of beauty and wonder. The mural, resplendent in the sunlight, seemed to come alive, its colors and designs a vibrant testament to the power of the human spirit. The young woman, her voice trembling with emotion, took to the stage, her words a heartfelt tribute to her brother and to all those who had sacrificed so much for their country. She spoke of the love and bravery that had inspired them all, of the duty they all shared to carry on the legacy of those who had come before. As she finished, the crowd erupted in applause, their cheers and tears a powerful reminder of the unbreakable bonds that tied them together as a community. Zane and Bill, standing side by side, looked out over the sea of faces, their hearts filled with a sense of purpose and determination. They knew that the work was not yet done, that there would always be challenges to face and obstacles to overcome. But they also knew that they had the strength and courage to face whatever lay ahead, that they had the support and love of a community that believed in them, that they were part of something greater than themselves. And as the celebration continued into the night, the town square filled with the sounds of music and laughter, they knew that they had truly achieved something remarkable, a transformation that would echo through the ages, a testament to the enduring power of hope, love, and the unbreakable bonds of community. As the anniversary celebration drew to a close, Zane and Bill found themselves standing before the mural once more, their hearts filled with a sense of reflection and gratitude. They looked back on the journey that had brought them to this moment, on the challenges they had faced and the triumphs they had achieved. They remembered the day that had started it all, the moment when Zane's cruel act had threatened to tear the community apart. They remembered the pain and anger that had followed, the sense of hopelessness that had threatened to overwhelm them all. But they also remembered the moments of kindness and compassion that had followed, the small acts of courage and determination that had set them on the path to healing and transformation. They remembered the young woman, whose brother's sacrifice had inspired them all, and the countless others who had stepped forward to lend their support and guidance. As they stood there, lost in their thoughts, a gentle hand touched their shoulders. They turned to see the young woman, her eyes filled with tears of joy and gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "Thank you for everything you've done, for the lives you've touched and the community you've built." Zane and Bill, their own eyes glistening with tears, could only nod, their hearts too full for words. And as they looked out over the town square, at the faces of the people they had come to know and love, they knew that they had been a part of something truly special, a movement that had changed not only their own lives, but the lives of countless others. They knew that the journey was not yet over, that there would always be more work to be done, more challenges to face and obstacles to overcome. But they also knew that they had the strength and courage to face whatever lay ahead, that they had the support and love of a community that believed in them, that they were part of something greater than themselves. And with hearts full of hope and determination, they stepped forward, ready to embrace the future, ready to continue the work they had begun, ready to build a world worthy of the sacrifices and the love that had brought them to this moment. Years turned into decades, and the town continued to thrive, a shining beacon of hope and unity in a world too often divided by fear and hatred. The mural, now a cherished landmark, stood as a testament to the power of community, a reminder of the incredible journey that had brought them all together. Zane and Bill, though their hair had grayed and their steps had slowed, remained the heart and soul of the town, their wisdom and guidance a constant source of inspiration and strength for all who knew them. They watched with pride as new generations took up the mantle of leadership, as young people, inspired by their example, worked tirelessly to build a better world for all. The young woman, now a grandmother herself, continued to honor her brother's memory, her passion and dedication an enduring reminder of the sacrifices made and the love that had sustained them all. And though the world around them continued to change and evolve, the town remained a constant, a haven of hope and compassion in an often turbulent sea. As Zane and Bill sat together in the quiet of the evening, their eyes fixed on the horizon, they knew that their journey was nearing its end, that the time had come to pass the torch to a new generation. But they also knew that their legacy would endure, that the seeds they had planted would continue to grow and flourish, that the community they had built would stand as a testament to the power of love and the unbreakable bonds of the human spirit. And so, with hearts full of peace and gratitude, they looked to the future, secure in the knowledge that they had made a difference, that they had touched countless lives and inspired countless others to follow in their footsteps. As the sun began to set on that final day, Zane and Bill knew that they had achieved something truly remarkable, a transformation that would echo through the ages, a legacy of hope and love that would endure long after they were gone. And with a final, gentle smile, they closed their eyes, their hearts filled with the knowledge that they had lived a life well lived, a life dedicated to the service of others, a life that had made the world a better place.